The cost of living was lower then. It's not the pressures that you have now. He worked and she took care of the family. And all of a sudden, everything changed. What made the change? We're all immigrants. What made the difference? The parents really have to work 2 jobs. Both parents must work to support their families. I noticed also a change in the behaviors of the children. Remember, I've been teaching many, many years. When I started talking to the parents, I realized that their children were born here and then they were sent back overseas. But the parents are coming here as immigrants, and then they have their children who are born here. But they cannot raise their kids here because there's not enough infant toddler care programs, and they don't have any relatives here. So now these kids are sent back overseas, and they come back and they're not familiar with their parents. And they say, why am I brought to this country? This is all so strange. A new country, a new culture, a new neighborhood, a new school, a new friend, a new city, and then new parents. They did not recognize their own parents. Who are these satellite babies? How many children were born here in New York City, in the United States? If you were born here, raise your hand. Put your hands down. If you were born here in the United States, in New York City, how many of you went back to China to where your parents lived? Okay, and then they took care of you. Your grandma took care of you, other people took care of you. Okay, how old were you? Keep your hands up, don't put your hands down. Keep your hands up if you went back to China to live there. How old were you when you came back? How old were you when you came back? Who knows the answer? 5. How old were you? 4. How old? 4. How old? Yes. 6. Okay. 4. 5. 5. 5. 4. 5. Anyone else? 5. 4. 3. 5. How old? Almost 6. 5. How old? 3. How old? 4. How old? 4. 6. 5. 5. 5. How old? 4. How old? 5. Yes. 5. Back in 1971, when I first started, it was called Chinatown Planning Council, and that's where you get CPC. I really wanted to be among my own people because I can see that their needs were not being met, they're not being understood. I thought that I could help out. We started these after-school programs and daycare centers, and that was to fight poverty. Now, this is the beginning. They don't have an extended family here yet. This is a new wave of immigrants.
No problem.
They're sent overseas and they're raised by very loving grandparents, cousins, relatives. And so the children are very comfortable in China. And next thing you know it, they have to come back for school because now the parents, they can put them in school all day long and go to these after-school programs. The parents themselves also lost 5 years of bonding time with their kids, so they don't understand their children at all. They never learned how to be a parent, so now they have these children who are strangers to them, and the children feel that their parents are strangers also. So they have to recreate this whole family unit all over again. But then they presented a whole host of problems. No classroom management skills at all. Everyone's a stranger to these kids. They're telling them what to do, how to behave, but they never had that bonding period. They never developed that trust relationship, and it will take time. How about you, May? Were you born in the United States?
Yes.
USA? And how old are you now?
8.
8. Did you go back to China when you were little?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Do you remember how old?
Mm.
Amy, you were here and you stayed in the United States. And then May was born here, but she didn't stay. Why? Why did you go back to China?
Because my mom said that it was too much to take care of.
And so then, who did you live with in China? Do you remember sometimes you get like really mad and you had to come to the office? What were you so mad about? Do you remember that you were so mad that sometimes, what would you do with a pencil? And I told you not to do that anymore.
Poke myself.
You used to poke yourself with the pencil. Do you remember? Because you were so angry. You were poking yourself and you were biting yourself. You know why you did that a lot? Because probably it was all new and it's all strange to you and you didn't know how to talk or who are all these people? Because remember you just came to Flushing. And then it dawned on me, it is more than just an adjustment. It affected them psychologically and emotionally and socially. It's a whole realm of development that is lacking here. So when you go to school, you know, you're learning cognitive skills and academic skills, but you have to look at the whole child and what he's been through. So that's why I call this a post-traumatic stress experience. You know, it's very traumatic to leave your parents as an infant or as a 1-year-old. You just created that bonding and that trust relationship. Then you're going back overseas and now you meet these grandparents who are very loving and now you bonded with them. And then coming back to another country is another stress experience. CPC has done a lot to help these kids out because becoming self-aware is a really important factor. The children are called satellite babies. So a satellite is, here's Mother Earth and we send the satellite into space. So now the satellite comes back. We're going to look at the results of this because you're going to see that this is not a good idea to send them back. You're going to see the results of how it affects the child and how it affects the parents. They can't get to that success in the academic field if they have social problems, emotional problems, cultural problems. We recognize that we have really bridged that gap. When they came over, there was a big gap between them and their parents and school and adjustment issues. We really helped them to reunify, reattach, reconnect, and then help them to move forward. Without programs like this, these children are floundering. They can't understand what's happening to them. The child is not at fault here. He's stuck in the middle. When I talk to the children, I say, you know, we're helping you become better children so you can understand yourself and how to grow up positively. Then we're also helping your parents to become better parents.